Most VTI versus VT comparisons start with the weakest question: which ETF is better? I think that question sounds useful, but it hides the real decision. Because VTI and VT are both good funds. The danger is not that one of them is trash. The danger is that you choose a good fund, feel responsible, and still end up with a portfolio you did not mean to build. So here is my view right away. If someone wants one stock ETF for long-term investing and does not want to manage US versus international exposure, I would lean toward VT. If someone wants the US market as the core and is willing to decide international exposure separately, VTI is one of the cleanest tools for that job. But if someone chooses VTI only because the chart looks stronger, I would slow down. That may feel like discipline. But sometimes it is just performance chasing wearing a very respectable suit. Welcome to Grow with Tony. Simple money lessons for education only, not financial advice. Today, I want to make this comparison more useful than a normal ticker fight. We are not going to pretend anyone knows whether US stocks or international stocks will win the next decade. We are not going to turn two excellent Vanguard funds into a fake winner-take-all contest. And we are not going to say, just buy both, as if overlap magically becomes wisdom. By the end, I want you to have one clear rule. VT is simpler when you want one global stock fund. VTI is simpler when you want a US stock core and you are willing to handle the rest of the world yourself. That is the whole fork in the road. Now let's make it concrete. VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, but the phrase total stock market can be misleading if you hear it too quickly. It means the total US stock market. It gives you broad exposure to US large cap, mid cap, and small cap companies in one fund. That is a powerful tool. It is not narrow. It is not a 10-stock bet. It is not a sector fund. But it is still a US tool. VT is the Vanguard Total World Stock ETF. That one word changes the job. World. VT includes the United States, developed international markets, and emerging markets in one fund. So the simplest picture is this. VTI is the US map. VT is the world map. That does not make one automatically smarter than the other. It just means they answer different questions. And a lot of bad portfolio decisions come from using the right product to answer the wrong question. Now, I understand why VTI feels like the obvious answer to many investors. On Vanguard's March 31st, 2026 fact sheet, VTI had a 0.03% expense ratio. That is extremely cheap. The same fact sheet showed more than 3,500 stocks inside the fund. So the sales pitch almost writes itself. Low cost, thousands of companies, familiar US businesses, simple ticker, strong recent long-term performance. That same Vanguard fact sheet showed VTI's 10-year annualized NAV return at 13.68% as of March 31, 2026. That number is not a forecast. It does not promise the next decade. But emotionally, it has power. Investors do not just process a return number. We feel it. A strong chart can make a fund feel safer than it really is. It can make diversification outside the US feel like dragging an anchor. It can make patients feel foolish. And I want to say this carefully. That feeling is not stupid. It is human. If you have watched US companies lead headlines, lead index returns, and become part of daily life around the world, VTI can feel like common sense. But long-term investing has a way of testing whatever feels obvious. That is why I do not want you to ask, what looks obvious today? I want you to ask, what am I prepared to hold when it stops looking obvious? Now look at VT. On Vanguard's March 31st, 2026 fact sheet, VT had a 0.06% expense ratio. So yes, it cost more than VTI. But the difference between 0.03% and 0.06% is about $3 per year per $10,000 invested. Fees matter. I am not dismissing them. But when both funds are already this low cost, the fee should not be allowed to hijack the whole conversation. The bigger question is what the fee buys you. VT held more than 10,000 stocks on that same fact sheet. And the United States was about 61.1% of common stock market allocation. That last number is important because many people talk about VT as if it is a vote against America. It is not. VT already has a large US position. It simply leaves room for the rest of the global market too. It owns US companies, and it also owns companies from Japan, the United Kingdom, Canada, China, Taiwan, France, Switzerland, Germany, Korea, and many other markets. So if you choose VT, you are not saying, I do not believe in the US. You are saying, I do not want my entire stock decision to depend on one country staying dominant. That is a different sentence. And I think it is a more honest one. Here is where I think many online comparisons lose the plot. They treat the lower fee as if it automatically settles the debate. But if one fund gives you US exposure and the other gives you global exposure, the cheaper one is not automatically the better one. It is only better if it matches the job. Buying the wrong exposure for a slightly lower fee is like getting a discount on the wrong plane ticket. It may be cheap, but it still takes you to the wrong place. So my main filter is not which ETF is cheaper. My main filter is which decision do I want to own. With VTI, you own the choice to make the US your stock market home base. With VT, you hand the country weights to the global market and stop making that call yourself. That is the real trade-off. And every real trade-off has a future regret attached to it. If you buy VT and US stocks keep beating the world, you may feel the regret of diversification. You may think, why did I carry the slower markets? If you buy VTI and the US has a long, disappointing stretch, you may feel the regret of concentration. You may think, why did I put so much of my stock exposure in one country? Neither regret means you were dumb. It means you accepted a trade-off. The investor who survives is not the one who avoids all regret. That investor does not exist. The investor who survives is the one who understands the regret in advance and still says, yes, I can live with that. That is the part I would write down before buying either fund. Now let me simplify the framework. Do not turn this into a 20-question spreadsheet. Use 5 quick tests. Test 1. One stock fund or building block. If you want one stock ETF and you want the geography handled for you, VT is cleaner. If you are building a portfolio piece by piece, VTI can be the US building block. Test 2. Do you want control or delegation? VTI gives you control. You decide whether to add international, how much to add, and when to rebalance. VT gives you delegation. You accept the global market mix inside the fund and spend less energy on country weights. Test 3. What is your honest reason? If your reason is, I want a US core, that is a real reason. If your reason is, I want one global stock fund, that is a real reason. If your reason is, this one has done better lately, that reason needs more pressure. Not because it is evil, because it is incomplete. Test 4. Can you explain the bad decade? Before choosing VT, imagine a decade where VTI wins and comment sections tell you global diversification was a mistake. Could you keep buying? Before choosing VTI, imagine a decade where non-US markets look better and people say America was overcrowded. Could you keep buying? If the answer is no, the fund may be simple on paper but complicated in your behavior. Test 5. What will you do with bonds and cash? This part gets skipped, but it matters. VTI and VT are stock ETFs. Neither one is an emergency fund. Neither one is a bond allocation. Neither one makes short-term money safe. Investor.gov explains asset allocation as personal and tied to time horizon and risk tolerance. So VTI versus VT answers the stock exposure question. It does not answer the whole financial plan question. That is the framework. 1. Stock fund. Or building block. Control or delegation. Honest reason. Bad decade test. Stock exposure versus full plan. Much simpler. Now let's talk about the overlap mistake. Many investors think, I like VTI, and I also want the diversification of VT, so maybe I should hold both. That can be fine, but only if you know what you are doing. VT already includes US stocks, so when you add VTI on top of VT, you are not just adding diversification, you are increasing your US weight above VT's global mix. That may be exactly what you want, but call it what it is. It is a US tilt, not a magic upgrade, not automatic sophistication, not more ETFs equals more wisdom. This is where I would use a simple decision note. Before buying both, write one sentence. I own VT for global stock exposure, and I add VTI because I intentionally want extra US weight. If that sentence feels true, fine. If it feels like you are forcing the explanation after the fact, maybe the portfolio is becoming cluttered. That little note can save you later, because when markets change, you will not remember the calm logic as clearly as you remember the pain. A written reason gives your future self something to check before making emotional changes. Let me give you 3 investor profiles, but I want to frame them with empathy. First, the minimalist. This investor says, I want one stock fund I can keep buying for decades. I do not want to decide how much belongs in each country. I want global exposure, and I want to move on with my life. For that person, I think VT is the cleanest answer. Second, the intentional US core investor. This investor says, I know VTI is US focused. That is the point. I want the US as my main engine, and I will decide separately whether to add international exposure. For that person, VTI makes sense. Third, the investor who is being pulled by the recent winner, and this is not an insult. This is all of us at some point. The winning chart always looks calmer after it has already won. The fund that lagged always looks unnecessary after it has already lagged. So if someone says, I prefer VTI because it has felt stronger, I do not want to shame that. I want to slow it down. Ask, would I still choose this if the next 10 years look different from the last 10? That question turns emotion into analysis, and that is where better investing decisions usually begin. Now, if you already own one of these funds, I do not think the right reaction is panic. This video is not saying, you bought the wrong thing, start over. That kind of content gets clicks, but it usually makes investors worse. The better reaction is an audit, not a complicated audit, a 3-sentence audit. Sentence 1, I own this fund because. Sentence 2, the trade-off I accept is. Sentence 3, I would only change this if. That sounds almost too simple, but it exposes whether the choice is a plan or just a habit. If you own VTI, your audit might say, I own VTI because I want a broad US stock core. The trade-off I accept is that I am not getting full global stock exposure from this fund alone. I would only change this if my view on international diversification changes, or if my overall allocation no longer fits my plan. That is clear. You may agree with it or disagree with it, but at least it is a plan. If you own VT, your audit might say, I own VT because I want global stock exposure in one fund. The trade-off I accept is that some countries or regions will often lag the winner. I would only change this if I decide I want to control country weights myself. That is also clear. But compare those with a weaker audit. I own VTI because everyone online says it is better. Or, I own VT because it sounds more diversified. Those are starting points, not finished reasons. They may lead to a good decision, but they need more work. This matters because finance content can make every portfolio choice feel urgent. One confident voice says global diversification is obvious. Another says, international has been dead money. If every confident voice gets a vote inside your portfolio, your plan will keep changing. So I want your reason to be quieter than the internet, but stronger than the internet. Quiet enough that it does not need drama. Strong enough that it survives when someone makes the opposite choice sound smarter. That is what a decision note does. It turns an ETF from a ticker you bought into a role you understand. And once a fund has a role, you do not need to re-argue the whole portfolio every time a chart moves. Here is the part where I disagree with a lot of online ETF arguments. I do not think every investor needs the mathematically perfect portfolio. I think most investors need a portfolio they understand well enough to hold. A slightly imperfect plan you can follow for 20 years may beat a beautiful theory you abandon after 3 bad years. So clarity matters more than cleverness. If you choose VT, your clarity is, I do not want to pick countries. I will own the global stock market. If you choose VTI, your clarity is, I want the US as my core, and I accept responsibility for what I do or do not add outside the US. Both can be mature decisions. What worries me is the unclear middle. I bought VTI because it went up more, added VT because it sounded diversified, and now I hope the mix is fine. That is not terrible, but it is not a strategy yet. It is a collection of good ideas that still needs a boss. So here is my final answer. For a true one-stock ETF portfolio, I prefer VT because it removes a country-weight decision most investors do not want to manage. For a deliberate U.S. core portfolio, I respect VTI because it is clean, cheap, and broad for that job. That is the fork. Own the world in one fund or use the U.S. as your core and take responsibility for the rest. Once you choose, your job is not to keep checking whether the other side looks smarter this month. Your job is to hold the reason when your choice looks temporarily wrong. That is what long-term investing actually asks from you. If this helped, like the video so more long-term investors can find it. And in the comments, tell me your choice, VTI, VT, or both, and give me the honest reason behind it. Keep learning, keep growing your wealth, and I will see you in the next video.